Okay, boys, let's get started here. So, I wanted to quickly go over Tesla. Now, many of you know that Tesla is my favorite stock to trade because I'm an Elon groupie. That's kind of a joke. I follow Elon just because I follow the stock. Really don't like the cars and really don't like Elon, but it's like watching a reality TV show. But let's talk about the $1 trillion man because this, I think, is pretty important. Okay, so you can see on the screen here, I've got the Reuters article from September 5th, 2025, where Tesla announces that it's going to offer this $1 trillion pay package to Elon Musk, right? And it sounds outrageous, but when you really stop and think about it, you're like, okay, it's not as outrageous that it as it sounds. So let me scroll down real quick and show you this. So the targets include the company hitting an $8.6 trillion market cap in 10 years. So currently Tesla's like around a 1.5, $1.6 trillion market cap. So you're basically talking about, what is that, a doubling, tripling, quadrupling over the next 10 years, something to that effect. Um, And so the only way they can get there is with Elon, right? Elon is Tesla, and Tesla is Elon. Tesla without Elon is going to basically crater, mainly because investors are going to leave, myself included. So they've got this option. They have to have Elon. He's greater than Howard Hughes. Let's put it in that respect. I mean, he is the premier inventor, thinker of our time. So when you look at it, you go, okay, well, that sounds crazy, but he currently owns about 15% of Tesla as it is. Estimates are if he succeeds in this um, pay package deal, then he'll own somewhere around 26, 27, 28% of the company. So when you do the math, 28% of 8.6 trillion comes out to about somewhere around $1 trillion or more. So they have to do this because you're talking about essentially on paper the richest man in the world, and what does the richest man in the world want when he's got all the money he could ever possibly need? Well, he wants to have an opportunity to succeed and to work in his own company, and he wants to do what he wants to do because he can do whatever he wants to do. So to keep him interested in Tesla, they have to give him an incentive and a very lofty incentive at that. So that's why they're offering him this deal, because without him, the company's going to basically fall apart. So Tesla's in a position where they have to keep Elon, and as a result, they have to keep offering him a carrot to keep him there. The reason I bring all this up is because if you look at the date on this, September 5th, 2025. Okay, now let's go to the chart. Kabloom, because I'm always going to the charts. Right here, you can see where this candle is, this big long candle. This was Monday. Well, this is a weekly chart, so this is that week, the week after they made this announcement. Elon buys 2.5 million shares at between 371 and 396 on 9/12/2025. That was a Friday. So basically, the announcement was on the 5th. Add 7 days. That's the 12th. It's a Friday. Boom. He buys 2.5 million shares. Now, why does Elon buy 2.5 million shares in the company he already owns if he's not going to take that pay package, right? What Elon is doing is he saw the package. He says, okay, I'm going to take that deal, but before I take that deal, I'm going to go ahead and dump a bunch of money into Tesla because I know if I get this package and my goal is to get it to an $8.6 trillion market cap, guess what? I went to ChatGPT and calculated this out. What would the stock price be at $8.6 trillion market cap? Well, it turns out it's like somewhere like $2,500 a share. It's something crazy out there. So he's buying 2.5 million shares at basically 400, knowing that it's going to go to 2,000 by the time he's done. So I don't see how Elon is not going to take this pay package, although anything's possible. I really think that what we're watching here is Tesla is forming up kind of a base right here. You can see these weekly candles right in here around 420. That's another magical number. Tesla at 420. So if you go back in history, not too long ago, a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Elon had to go to court with the SEC because he got all pissed off and went out on X and said, I'm taking Tesla private at 420, funding secured. And that set off, this was kind of early before before Twitter and tweets were really taken all that seriously with the SEC and people going out there and saying stuff like that. So they took him to court, and I think he ends up winning. But the point is that he said 420. He believed that was a good price. It also has this weird reference to cannabis, which Elon likes to always make these kind of double meaning things like that. So I believe 420 is a very important price, and whenever Tesla hit 420 again, just here recently on this candle, I believe he put out a tweet that said, "Hey everybody, we're back at 420." So 420 is a very psychological, important price, but the 420 price is not that far above where he purchased it at 396. So long story short is Tesla is forming up a base right here. We had earnings last week, which, the market or the financial news said, oh, it's lackluster. Well, here's the other thing is that Tesla sold 497,000 cars in the last quarter. Part of that pay package to get to the $1 trillion max is that Tesla has to sell 20 million cars. Well, when you break it out over 10 years per quarter, that comes out to 500,000 cars per quarter. Well, Elon just hit 497, which was a 10% increase from the previous quarter. So he's already on track to hit his 500,000 cars per quarter to meet his $1 trillion pay package in 10 years. That to me is a pretty big signal, is that, yeah, everybody wants to say, well, it's because of the tax incentive from the government was going to end, and so all these people pulled their orders forward. Maybe, probably, but the next day after that, he lowers the price by making a stripped down version of the car, so he makes it affordable for the same people, just a little bit stripped down version. So I look at it as like this: if Elon doesn't take the pay package, you better get out of Tesla and sell it as fast as possible, because it's probably going to drop big time, maybe down to 300, maybe even lower, maybe down to 250. If he does take the pay package, I suspect you're going to see 500 very rapidly, probably by the end of the year. Another reason I say it's going to go to 500 on that is because if you look at the options volume, everyone is piling into the 500 strike calls, so they're expecting it to be 500 by the end of the year. But the shareholder meeting takes place on November 6th, so in a couple of weeks, and I got a shareholder voter thing. I voted for all of the things that I voted for the pay package. The other thing on that shareholder meeting is investing in XAI. XAI is kind of a dark horse in the AI world right now, because it's basically still a kind of a non-profit, and it's being run by Elon. Well, you got to remember that XAI is also already Grok is made by XAI, and people are already using Grok on X, and they've already got Grok inside all the Teslas. You add in also that Tesla is already way ahead of the game in autonomous vehicles, which is essentially AI driving cars, and they're way ahead of Waymo, mainly because they're actually using cameras instead of LiDAR, so that basically they're actually reading like a human eye and making decisions based on actually images versus some sort of radar or LiDAR signatures. And so once they roll all this autonomous vehicles out to every single car, you're talking like instantaneously 10, 15, 20 million cars could be robo-taxis. So really the scale here in the AI play is Tesla. Tesla's got scale. Tesla's actually got real products in the market, and they've got a real CEO that's pushing this thing forward. So that's my take. Keep an eye on it. I suspect it's going to go to 500 by the end of the year. It could even go higher, because Tesla has a tendency to be very, very wild and shoot up and shoot down. But we're going to hit 500 by the end of the year. unless Elon walks away from the pay package.